for installations, solar installations in New York State. The information that I'm giving you on these two yellow pages is the information from a podcast from Albany. Okay, so as you know, I talked about the office last time, and the office doesn't even have a director yet, but the law has gone through, and so I just want to go through this with you. Everything was accepted and complete. All the applications under Article 10 were completed December 8th. And now and so Article 10 is gone. We now have this 94C, which really in a nutshell is the state has all jurisdiction on solar installations. And as I go down through here, it's not going to take very long. You'll see that there are some exceptions to that, but they're really irrelevant for the most part. And I'll say why as we go along. So the executive director that we talked about, that was the office a month ago, and it has NYSERDA and Ag and Markets, and I can't even remember, there are two more under it, are basically ineffective, but there, because they felt they have to have something there. But the office is doing all the permitting and all of the issuance. So the applications are accepted and are not involving the town at all. And a draft permit is issued, a 60-day period. The town can make public comments. There's adjudication and public input. You can plead your case, but the truth is, the office only issues permits, and the office absolutely decides. The final permitting, this is for, this whole thing is going to come to an apex in 2/23. And for now, the final permits are going to be 1 year from now. We have 1 year to, I don't know how we're going to do this here, but did I make it clear that we have no say in the solar installations that will come into our town? And,
doesn't matter on the size anymore. Article 10 gave us a size. That's now gone.
Mhm.
So it can be from 1 megawatt. They own it all.
Yeah. So if you go over to the official, or the office only issues permits only. We don't issue permits. The town or the county don't issue permits, etc. The office decides completely. However, there's a work group. There are several work groups, maybe 6, and they have different. And I didn't look this up to bring the information to you, but it's groups that were already there that they don't dare get rid of yet, to make sure that they don't look like they're total. What is the word for someone that totally controls everything? Total totalitarian situation where we are under the governor as a person who controls everything. So the appeals, the final permits are going to be, the deadline date is 2/21, a year from now. The appeals are going to be from 2/21 December, 3 months later to March 21. The project construction is going to be from 2/22 to 2/23. They're planning this whole state to be built out in that time, whether or not they can do that. There will be community adjudicatory hearings, but you must, under their specification, have a substantive and a significant data from experts that you would provide. You can't just go say, these are the reasons that this town shouldn't have this whole thing. Especially, they don't wanna hear, this is gonna change this town from rural to commercial. And it's not right, and they don't wanna hear any health issues, they don't wanna hear any science. They don't care if the, panels are made in China and they have the Teflon coating, which we know is going to leach into the water, leach into the soil and water, and cause all of us, all animals, birds and animals, we're one of the animals, to possibly become sick over time. There will be, let's see, there will be an add-on hearing within a 60-day period of transiting to section 94C, a comment period, but the town board has no comment. There's party status and new qualifications which haven't come out yet. The residential setbacks are 1,500 feet from a residence.
Hang on, that's a key point there.
Yes, it is.
1,500 feet from your foundation wall, right? So now, let's say you have,
Weren't we 500? Were we 500?
yeah, but here's the problem. If they're using your land for their setback,
Exactly, it's not from your property line. It's from
so
your
now,
foundation.
can you build anything within that 1,500 feet?
You know, I don't think that this has been challenged that well, but they thought the whole thing through. They have total control of your land. Whatever the town deems to be your lot.
That was the key with the wind turbines, was they were going from your foundation, which meant, all right, if it was a certain setback from your foundation, could you build, say, your barn or an outbuilding within that setback? Or does that setback already control?
And you can see already that these things are adjudicated and the state will come in and tell you the way it's going to be.
No, but
And we go on and on, like Ron is bringing up, there's going to be over and over more things. And remember to go back to, was it a substantive argument or was it significant? Well, to whom is it substantive or significant?
Yeah.
The homeowner is, I won't say what he is, you know what's going on here. The road, 2.5 times the height, I don't understand that one at all, and we can go further. But these things can be, this is again brought up on Wednesday, 30 feet high. Now how can they be 30 feet high? There are new kinds of solar panels now, and they're motorized, and I don't know the answer because I haven't seen it. I haven't even seen an article on it. If you
All right,
go-
so it looks like their setback from the road is 2.5 times height. So basically, if they fall over, they don't fall over in the road.
Yes. So, I don't even remember what this was about, but 75% of intervenor funds to the public. And the question is who qualifies. I'll be finding out a lot more about this. This was from a podcast that was on the internet from Albany. Article 94C will ultimately take away all public comment. It will, it will undermine and X out all local law. Unless it is deemed by the siting board in Albany to be substantive or significant. This is, please do comment to me after I give you the last parts of this. In other words, we will have no vote. The executive director of ORES, this is the office, is as yet unnamed by Albany. They don't even have a person to do this, is in total control. Now, the problems that I see, other than the fact that this is totalitarianism, our land is hijacked. This is a land grab of New York State, and it's going to get worse. The problems are that the batteries, lithium and now hydrogen, are very dangerous, and they have a chain danger reaction. Once they heat up and once they start, you can't stop them, and you don't know when the next part of the battery is going to blow up. So, and our fire departments don't have any training in this. And who is responsible for accidents and damages, and will the town have anything to do with this, and how are people going to get insurance on this? And how are we going to make them get insurance when we have no say? Is there any landowner control left after this? This is a land grab. The contracts are 25 to 40 years, as you probably know, so most people that have signed up are going to be dead before how do you say it? Every 2 to 3 years, the contract is going to be flipped, right? And somebody else is going to come along, because this is nothing but an investment for a lot of people. At this point, I just want to say this one thing about Rush. You probably knew that Rush had Indians come in, Seneca Indians, and cite that there were burial grounds there, and bones were there, and the companies have backed off. Unfortunately, some of the Indians separated from their other brethren, and they are going to have their own, if you can believe this, Invenergy went off together with them, and they're going to have their own solar now. So that thing is collapsed. The whole thing in Russia has collapsed because of the fact that they've come in because of 94C, and the fact that they've come in and done that. But the interesting thing is that people are always trying to make money an easy way, and they're not thinking about what the town is going to turn into when you see, especially for our town, 450 acres right down through the middle of the town. Okay, so I say this is a land grab. Of course it is a land grab. And the question is, does the landowner have any control over this 25 to 40 year contract? And the answer is hardly any, if any. There will be there will be, like, you know that you can go to a website in Albany and see everything that's going on all these projects. This is going to stop, and this is all going to be done in the dark. Now, we won't know where each of the sightings is. We won't know how long it's going to take or where it is or what they're doing. We won't see any public comments. There are a lot of wonderful public comments on the website that won't be happening. And so for that I say, who controls the land? Not the farmer. And then, of course, we've lost the vote in our town. Our town never knew anything about this, and I think I complained a lot about this last time. Our town people still don't know a thing about what's going on. And I think that you guys have got to make some public statement and get it in the penny saver, like a whole sheet of paper saying something about what the changes that are occurring, and whoever is really good at writing here, so you can make it sound like it isn't the end of the world, which it kind of is, the end of Stafford. And then I think you need to do that. And the companies say they give into, this is what Albany is saying. The reason they have to have this total control is by law. If they let one go through, then they're going to have to, they'll have no standing, because they've already let one go through, and they'll have to change, react all of the other ones. And the goal is to have, and I think I showed you a map. You all see that map in front of you? That map isn't a map of where they're going to be. That map is a potential map of where they could be. Well, it's the entire state. It's absolutely amazing. And my last comment is, our citizens are in the dark, and I respectfully submit that you do something immediately to let the town people know what is happening to our town. And I'd like to hear some discussion on that right now. And this is a catastrophe, and it's happening every place.
So you said that the life of these, some of these leases are what, 24 to 40 years?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's 25 years plus the option for the company to have the 15 more years to
Well, the
make it
reason I
40.
bring that up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a pilot is only good for 15 years, right?
Then it's
I don't
just to
think
start paying
pilot
full
law is going to
taxes.
have much to do with this.
They'll start paying full tax.
That's what the idea of a pilot is you're a pilot for so long, and then you become taxable. We gotta check with
With Ann?
Ann, but I always thought that's the way pilots work. Couple, if you don't mind, I'll throw a couple of comments out there. Although we like to call it a power grab, the only reason we have home rule is because the state tells us we have home rule. Towns, counties, cities, villages are all a construct of state law. So they can overwhelm us at any time because they control the state law that makes us exist. They control the state law that tells us we have home rule.
Okay, I want to stop you right there, and I just want to go back 100 years, okay? We used to have, until this year actually, we used to have churches in Stafford, and people would go to those churches and they would talk to each other.
Mhm.
We have had, when you say we really don't, our existence comes from the state, it actually, that's not what the Constitution says, that it comes from the state. And so all that you're saying, Ron, is the reality of this situation, and I'm always coming from, the reality isn't right. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's still, our country was formed out of the states, and our local government is formed out of the states. We are the United States. The primary government is the state. Over federal,
Well, if we would look at the state constitution as it stands, we probably would see that there's still a little freedom left in there. And I'm trying to tell you, this is changing exceedingly rapidly. And we're not going to go back and say, well, this is the way it is because total control is okay, or it's coming to total control. We don't want that.
I think what we need to do, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, is that we passed the solar law and we had a public hearing, and we told everybody this is what the solar law is, and this is how we passed it. If 94C eliminates our solar law, we need to have a public hearing that tells our town this law no longer exists. Matter of fact, I think we might as well go through the official work of rescinding the law, so
I think
nobody has any impression that we control any of that.
Okay, I would beg
94,
to differ with,
94C only governs installations of 25 megawatts or more,
yeah, we
unless
should.
they're,
All right,
unless they're currently under the current Article 10, and then
All right,
between 20 and 25 megawatts, they can decide to continue under the Article 10 process, or they can jump to the 94C.
all right, that's different from what we
Basically-
started at. I asked the question.
Yeah.
I
Well,
said
I never
this-
had a chance to jump in and
All right,
offer any comments, but yeah, the smaller, anything that is in the 5, 10, 15 megawatt size is still governed by the town of Stafford's in
all
here.
right.
At
It's
this
still governed
point.
by the town of Stafford.
But they are, these small ones, and you probably know this, the small ones are gonna be chained together to make the larger ones. But you see,
So be it, so
we
we're-
should not disband our law. We should
Well,
not disband
no,
our law. In fact,
not if it's applicable, but again, all we're saying now is 94C has replaced Article 10. It has not dove down to cover all solar farms.
correct.
All right.
That's my understanding. I only understood from, about 94C from this presentation that they had on the internet from Albany.
Do we still give you an opportunity to negotiate your
Okay,
money? I mean,
the
where's
opportunity
that gone?
to
The
I
negotiate
think
money.
that still exists.
The pilot program, or the pilot work, that still exists. You can still.
Well, does the opt-out still exist too?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it's, again, it keeps coming back to, we need our attorney to tell us this. That is his job, it's not Sandy's job. to tell
I
us
really
this.
don't think he knows at this time. And I think you guys, one of you, or a couple of you, could do further research on this. And I really appreciate you saying it's not my job. It is not my job. But you guys don't seem to be, you're not noticing that these things are coming across. And so that's why I did this. But I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, again, it is clearly, who else is there to confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt what these laws say?
Now, you understand that this is so new that they probably haven't figured it out. Remember I said there's no director of the office? They
Yes.
haven't even gotten a person to be the director of the office yet. But they are rushing this stuff through, and they want it up and working by 2/23. The thing that you're saying you're gonna have a public hearing to let people know.
Well, no, there's nothing to let them know now, because it's, the only thing that's changed is the state law that was still there. The scope of our law is still the same.
I think that you should have something given to this is my opinion. I think people should know that we have this huge solar farm coming through. And it's going to change their street, it's going to change their view shed, it's going to change their electromagnetic energy. The problem is the health. The biggest problem is it's a land grab. A person who came here and thought they had a beautiful, bucolic place to live is not going to any longer have that. They had no say in it, and it is not right. Now, you know that. I'm not talking law. I'm talking ethically, it is ridiculous what is happening. And, of course, solar still hasn't made any strides in making more electricity and covering all the land with this machinery. So there are many other things down the line, and they're not being allowed to come forth, as you all know, because they want this land grab. This is a land grab. The people who own this land won't have control over it if they put this stuff on their land. Okay.
What are we gonna eat in the future if they keep covering everything up?
And eating's my favorite sport.
I'm on that team too.
They didn't hear what we said.
No, I heard that.
But once again, this solar panel makes electricity, okay? But what does agriculture do? How many jobs are related to agriculture? I mean, the milk goes to the plant. Look at how many hundreds are employed. HP Hud, Awaka. There's 600-700 jobs. And the vegetables, look at that. Right, Jimmy? Help me out here, brother.
All right, here's one of the problems you run into, though. This is the map of the solar farms.
No, not of the
Of
solar
the
farms,
potential
of the
ones.
hookups,
All right,
potential.
potential. The sun starts here and goes to here. These are the farms that will be help against the morning draw on power. These will be too late. It's crazy what they're doing.
You know, we have in our report the amount of sunlight in western New York, and it's UV, the study was from UV, and it was that we have the least in the country. We have the least sun in the country. So it makes no sense. And it isn't right for the people. You guys have got to remember there are 2,400 people that live in this town. They know nothing. They need to be informed of what's happening where they live. And they shouldn't have to come out to a public meeting because they never come to public meetings. They need to be, you need to spend 5 reams of paper and some ink and a stamp and get them information.
Can I suggest something on that too? It's not just the penny saver or mailings or anything like that. A lot of people use social media. I've said this before. If you guys have a town board Facebook page to announce, you know, hey, look, this is our meetings, these are our public meetings, and also announce things that are going on with the solar panels with links to what's going on, such as the podcast or any other links that you have on there. People can access that a lot easier, especially now with coronavirus spiking. Right now, people are staying home. And so they're doing a lot of their research online, on the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and so forth.
You live in Stafford.
Yes, I do, right here on Main Road.
That's why I feel like you can say these things to
Yes.
us, and I appreciate it.
But I also do a lot of marketing and media and everything like that, so.
Well, do you, I don't hear that you guys are too interested in telling those 2,400 people.
Well, like you say, somebody's got to draft a letter.
Oh, let's point our fingers right back.
Yeah.
I mean, she's one little old lady.
Who in this room has studied this and come up with more information than all the rest of us put together? You have, with all due respect, you have. That's why way back when, I appointed you to do this, because I knew that you wouldn't leave a stone unturned, and you haven't. With all, I mean.
I accept, and this is my last thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to keep doing these things.
Okay.
You guys have got to
All
get
right.
somebody in here that will also, you're being paid. I'm not being paid. I've spent a lot of money doing all this stuff. I'm a little sick of it, and I don't think I get much reaction from you.
I agree that it needs to be, that people, if, I would want to know. I know because I sit here. But as a citizen of this town, resident of this town, I would want to know.
Okay, so I was going to make a flyer. If you guys didn't do this, I was going to make a flyer, and so I called up the Genesee County, the one that's in Avon. And it really isn't that much money. All you have to do is, you've got the machine. If I do this flyer, the machine is free. I mean, not free, but you know what I'm saying. And you trot down to Avon and hand them on I think they said a Monday, and the next Monday they'll put it in the penny saver is an insert. I think, and on very bright paper. And it needs to be not shocking and not as forceful as I would normally want to be, but I can figure something out.
I'm absolutely sure you can. Goldenrod is a good paper to put that stuff on. Seriously. Well, anyway, I don't feel I'm qualified to write a letter.
I don't know how you feel I'm qualified to write the letter, but
I don't think I'm qualified to do it.
I will make,
I think one of the problems we have is we need to make sure our citizens understand what is under our control, what's not.
that is absolutely correct. That is very important, but we need to let them know what is going to happen to them as a result of this. And we're not even totally sure about that, except we have a map now. I just got it last week. It's totally up to date, and and we have the, what is the name of the five or 8 pages with every person's name on it that owns a parcel in Stafford. And so we have all information that a person would need to know. Then they need to know further, what is it going to be like here? And what if they ask about the electromagnetic energy? You know, that's the biggest, the health is the biggest problem, other than the view shed and the feeling like this, my whole life is different than it should have been. Nobody promised me this. And to this, we don't look to the Stafford Town Council, we look to the state of New York.
Wait till the upcoming government gets in. You think this is bad now? Oh my God.
You do not have to tell me that.
All
I'm
right.
fully aware of it.
I suggest even if you're going to do a letter or if you're going to do a flyer, it's got to be short and to the point, and then in a literacy
I
level
agree.
that people all understand what's going on. Because if you make it too wordy, people are going to throw it away and toss it away and ignore it. So bullet points,
Yep.
fonts
I know
that
how to
are
make
readable, paper that's readable, and so forth, and just make it font to the point. And if you have to be big and bold, be big and bold, because people have to know this, what's going on.
All of us, everybody's talking at the same time.
I apologize,
No, that's okay.
About 100.
We've all run for office here at the table. We've all gone from door to door to door. We've all done this. We can do it again with something like this in our hand and say, you know,
Every household.
carve up the town into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Absolutely.
whoever wants to participate in this, and just go to door with
I
us.
know at one of my house, I have to go to that, so.
My thought is, she said it costs $200 to put it in a penny saver. I see the stuff in the middle of the penny saver, I throw it over here and then I read the penny saver.
So are you
For
saying,
$1,000 more, send everybody in this town a letter.
I love that idea.
It's gonna cost you $200 anyway,
It won't.
$1,000 more you get to send.
Won't
When I
cost
get a
you
letter
a
from the town of Stafford, I'm gonna
We're
open
all
it up.
registered voters.
They might be telling me something I really need to know.
It doesn't cost that much, Terry.
Well, yeah, you get a different rate than 50 cents a unit, but
Oh, but there's only what, 500 units? Something like that, 600 units in the town?
No, it's over.
700, is it over that much? Okay, well,
No, but if you use the election register with a mail merge, you knock it down to about 600
yeah,
total,
yeah.
which would cover all.
That's,
And that
I
would-
guess that's
That
what I
would
was,
cover-
that's what I was talking
Yeah,
about, is
that would,
there's only so many
The ma-
units,
the
it's
ma-
not, there's maybe 2,500
And 600
residents, but.
yeah, divide it
600
by-
people will get a buzz in the town, and then probably you would have to have an open meeting, not a public hearing, an open meeting to answer all these questions. So that means you have to get together and you have to figure out every one of these things, like Ron is asking you this question, I'm not really sure. This is brand new. They just came out with this 94C, and they felt this week they had to tell people about it. So it's much more involved than what I told you, but we
Well,
need to,
They had public hearings or public meetings, they had it out for public comment back in late October, early November.
yes.
So it isn't something that's just popped up out of nowhere.
But it's popped up, the thing is, it's popped up, this is it.
Well, and there's probably gonna be another law after this 42. I mean, once they get into it, you show a little resistance, and Como passes another one that
Exactly.
supersedes this one, and every one he passes makes it that much easier.
Surprised he hasn't done
The
it.
main-
Order.
The main
Right.
thing I would like to see is
Right.
that the residents of Stafford understand who controls what aspects. If it is a small solar farm, it comes under the town. If it's over a certain size, and they probably all will be, it goes to the state. So that somebody doesn't all of a sudden see solar panels going up next to their house, starts looking at our local zoning law.
Well, we know where a beginning of the mass of the land is going to be taken up. We know where that is.
Do we?
Yes? So are we
I
saying
must be
out
living
loud?
under a rock because I haven't heard anything about, hardly
But is
anything
it-
about it, other than
Is
the
it per
letter
landowner
that
or solar?
Jerry gave
company?
me 3-4 months ago.
It's
Is it
It said that there
landowner
was a
or
company-
solar company?
both.
That
Right now,
talked to him
well,
about
we know of
putting in
three
solar
right now,
farm.
right?
The reason we have such a small number here that we know of is because that some of these are hooked to Byron, and possibly they're gonna be hooked to Alba if we have a boundary with Alba. One of the words is chaining. So the
Well,
small
yeah.
ones are gonna be changed to the big ones, and it's all gonna have to do with lines.
So, do we have Sandy develop the letter as her last hurrah, or the last hurrah, and we
Don't
take
put
that
her out to
letter?
pasture yet, you never know.
What's that?
Don't put her out to pasture
Oh,
just yet.
no.
I think we need to schedule a workshop to take Sandy's ideas and turn them into a letter. The letter should come from us.
Oh, the letter absolutely has to come from you.
Yeah, you gotta prove it, yeah.
No, I like that idea. Yeah.
Put some
That
websites
doesn't mean
on
you
it.
can't also do the penny saver and put an insert in it. In fact, maybe you would do the penny saver first and say a letter is coming.
Hey, what the heck, we got some money to blow from the bicentennial budget.
Oh,
We're going to be doing that next year if there's no COVID.
Yeah, good
Not
luck with
trying to
that.
spend that money.
You got another year of that to go.
Before we get into,
You can set
before
up
we
a
get
vaccine
into
place at the
the,
gazebo. you know.
Yeah.
we done talking about this, I got one more thing we gotta do with this.
I didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
Well, I would think we would want to schedule a workshop in January to do this. January, or February?
January,
Do we want to do it?
before the next meeting.
It's not, we won't get that done before the next meeting, I don't think.
Oh, of the draft of a letter?
Oh, we'll do that.
Yeah. You don't-
Andy, what do you got?
I'm just gonna say, yes, send out some correspondence, but I think we have to get with the times and have a Facebook page or a Stafford website that has all of this stuff, because,
No, you're right.
Do,
one of the things
Because-
brought tonight was that people don't come here to re-up their exemption because they're afraid of COVID. They're at home on their computer, so we have to have some stuff on the computer to keep people up to date, even if it's only once every 2 weeks, saying there's a meeting for this tonight and a meeting for something on Wednesday, and that, the topic is gonna be something